Welcome back. We are talking, that is, about building an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a very crucial one for financial stability and also helping you cover unexpected costs or expenses, if we could say that, in an event, where medical bills are rising, or, you could lose a job possibly, So we have invited, that as financial advisor, Mr. Deon Britz, here this morning to talk to us about the importance and how to go about if you haven't started or if you haven't got, that is, an emergency fund yet. A very good morning, Mr. Britz. A warm welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me, and I'm very well, thank you.
Great stuff. Let's get straight into it. I think this is a very important conversation, and I think my ears should be, very, very glued to this. But in terms of helping somebody, how should one determine the right size of an emergency fund? If we can start there, would you say it's based on your lifestyle and expenses, or both, or other factors?
So, totally agree. Lifestyle, expenses, they mostly go hand in hand. So, I would say if you determine a emergency fund, what is it for, first of all? If it's to pay for your expenses, one needs to determine how to get to all of the expenses. So putting up expenses, your most crucial ones, the necessities, your bond, your rent, your food, groceries, to your transport. Those basic ones needs to be taken care of. So determining the emergency fund is how long can you sustain this expenses if you had lost your job, gotten ill, bedridden for more than 3, 6, 12 months. Yeah. So basic principle or basic idea is to have a 3-month. That is where you're like an one income earner. You're the only one there. You don't have a lot of expenses. At least 3 months. Okay. 6 months where you earn an income that is not stable and you have dependents. Then at least if something happens, at least I can carry everybody by for the 6 months. 12 months, this is more for the professional guys, business owners, because you don't know when the next opportunity or contract comes through, and it needs to sustain you for 12 long months.
Yeah, very interesting there. Now, should an emergency fund, Mr. Britz, be kept in a high yield savings account, or can we pool them all together, like in one pool?
We need to define high yield interest account. Some of those accounts, they attract interest, but are also almost at a higher risk. If you take stocks, bonds, if you put your funds there, you're not sure how the market is going to perform. Look at what happened quite recently in the States. That can affect your emergency savings. So basic principle would be do a normal unit trust, at least to get an interest. So it needs to be safe, it needs to be accessible, and it at least gives you a little bit of interest. But never, please do not do Bitcoin and those things for your emergency fund, because you can lose everything. It can grow nice, but I wouldn't recommend. Emergency savings needs to be there when you need it the most. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, building an emergency fund, should this take priority over all my other savings, or can we do it together, or would this just depend pretty much on my income also?
Pretty much depends on your income, but it should take priority over everything else.
The emergency.
The emergency fund needs to be priority.
Okay.
Because imagine you going on holiday. You've saved for the holiday, but you don't have an emergency. Car breaks down. What happens with the income? There's nothing left to save. That's where the emergency funds needs to kick in. So building that as well, I would say if the emergency fund is fully funded for 3 months, 6 months, I have a lot of respect for people that has an emergency fund for 12 months. If that is done, then you can start doing a separate savings account and keeping them separate from each other, because it's easy to dip into the emergency and borrow me a $500 a friend, and then you never get it back to put it back to the emergency fund. So please, it needs to be separate from what the normal savings account would be.
Yeah, so you're talking about borrowing a friend $500. I could borrow myself $500. Nonetheless, I think, as a financial advisor sitting here right now, discipline is something that's very important. And us people, we don't understand the importance of savings. You'll find that some people don't have savings accounts at all, and you're sitting here now. Where do you start? When do you start? is it too late to start? Would you say it's too late for a 35-year-old to start? If let's say this person doesn't have an account, a savings or an emergency account, in fact, where do we start? Is it too late to start? Do you have some tips for us on discipline?
Well, our society has created the instant 3-minute rule of anything needs to happen within an instant. I would say at this point in time after COVID, we should be at the point where we would realize, listen, anything can happen. And in the insurance industry, we would say, you've got insurance for a reason, if the unexpected event happens. So somebody to start off now, it's never too late. Rather today than tomorrow, because tomorrow you might not be as young as you used to be. So if you would start today, there's a lot of products in the market. Just stay away from the 32 days and the fixed deposits. Those ones are not easily accessible. Start with something that's readily available, accessible, and avoid the pitfalls of paying penalties to get your money out. You shouldn't be paying extra to get your money out. Unless you're creating your own bank where you say, if I take from my emergency savings, I need to put it back with a 10% interest, your own bank type of thing. But be that as it may, if you start off today, most products in the market has a minimum of $500. So if you would take, for example, every day you buy a coffee, so average coffee is about $20. That's $100 for Monday to Friday. That's $400 for the month. That's gone. So maybe the discipline in terms of what do I prioritize on my savings or my emergency account, and then on my savings, and then my luxuries in terms of having a cup of coffee every second hour, buying it from a coffee shop. I'm not disclaiming
or doing for the coffee lovers.
For the coffee lovers, yeah. But it needs to be where we put the discipline down now and saying, look, this is my emergency savings. I'm not going to allow any event happening in my life to deter me from doing for what is best for me and my family. Okay.
That's some serious discipline. That takes some serious discipline.
It is.
Mr. Britz, we really appreciate having this conversation with you this morning. Your final thoughts, words to the Namibian nation on savings, in particular an emergency fund.
We don't know what's happening in the markets nowadays. If our Donald Trump decides anything should happen, we are affected ultimately. We should take control of our own finances. Bottom line.
Bottom line. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
There you have it. Maybe we're talking about that as emergency funds and saving and starting if you haven't. But bottom line is start. We'll be back after the break.